Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
And I am not Nick.
No, you are not.
I am not.
You wish you were.
I do not.
No?
No.
Oh my God.
Why would I do that?
So, Ian, what day is today?
Today is the exact 5th anniversary of the very first time we recorded a podcast.
Yes. So today is so we started this podcast back on January 7th, 2017. It was 1717. It wasn't done intentionally. And today we are recording on the exact 5-year anniversary. And what a fucking 5 years it has been.
Is it our fault? Is everything our fault? We started podcasting.
Everything is.
Yeah, it's all downhill.
Because when we started this, it was just prior to Trump's inauguration.
Yeah, because that was our first topic, I think. We kind of talked about
No. Our very first topic was how much I hate the internet.
Well, but we talked about Trump, too.
Because the whole, I would say a majority of that first year and a half, a lot of that was Donald Trump. And especially, early on, I tried to play, the center. Yeah. And I said, let's look and see what he does. I know he has potentially to be this terrible tyrant that he ended up being, but but my early reaction was, let's see what he does.
Yeah, boy, were you fucking wrong.
Yeah, boy, I was fucking wrong.
Yeah, and that, folks, is why we probably shouldn't be podcasting. Not that anyone listens anyway.
But over the last year, because really I kind of want to look back at the last year, because in 2020, right? Mm-hmm. In 2020, August or September of 2020, we stopped doing Life in General.
Right. We adjusted it to something else.
Yes. We started doing Reality Redefined, which was a little bit more focused on conspiracy theories and stuff like that, which is fun. We still talk about that kind of stuff. But and then earlier last year in 2021, we moved back to Life in General, just because we still want to talk about that. I felt like, I don't know about you, but I felt like we were a little bit too pigeonholed in what we were talking about.
It was a little bit harder to come up with topics, and I think also it can get a little stale even for us talking about that stuff.
With a lot of the conspiracy stuff that is out there in the times in which we live, a lot of it is political based, right, or politics touch it in one way or another. And I guess I kind of wanted to go back to having a little bit more fun with the show and doing things, and we have been over the last
6 months or so.
Yeah, something like that. But I think we're on what episode number is this? This is episode 171. So I think we went. So this is 40 episodes since we've been back, roughly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Actually, no, 33.
Sounds right.
It's 33 episodes since we've been back.
If you said 10, I'd say that sounds right. If you said 100, I'd say that sounds right.
Because the last episode we did before we changed was episode 138.
Oh, okay.
That's why I remember that. But anyway, so we're episode 171 now. So over the last 30 or so episodes, it's been a lot more of a loose show. We've a lot of times when we talk about our topic.
Yeah. So, I've been having a lot more fun with it.
It's a little bit more free form.
With the conspiracy theories too, I was running. The problem I was kind of running into is there's a lot of cross pollination with
there
those.
Is.
So you think you've got a unique topic that's different, but it really kind of bleeds into a lot of the other conspiracy theories, and it was getting a little. To me, it was getting a little stale.
Yeah,
so.
And I think that because you're right. If you can see this in the general public, people that generally believe in one conspiracy
tend to go to the
tend to believe in a lot of them. So you're right; they all kind of bled into one another, and flat earthers were would also bleed into the Denver airport shit and all sorts of stuff too. So
and
it was
sometimes even hollow Earth, which was weird.
Yeah,
how can you have a hollow Earth if it's flat?
Yeah.
But
it was. So I like to move back to Life in General. I think it's been more fun. Like I said,
and now we're gonna bring you way down.
Yeah,
just briefly.
Because I also did want to touch on the fact that yesterday was, so we were recording this on Friday the 7th, and yesterday was the 6th. So it was the 1 year anniversary of the insurrection at the Capitol or whatever you want, the treasonous event, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, I would call it insurrection, complete terrorist attack.
Yeah. Well, so Ted Cruz.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw him being attacked in the last day or since yesterday.
No.
So in an interview yesterday, he called it a terrorist act.
Okay. Which is the first time he's done that.
Yes, and he got absolutely killed by Tucker Carlson and all the talking heads on Fox News about it. And of course, he had to go back out today and kind of walk it all back. And well, that's not exactly what I meant. And
that's what it was.
Oh, look at that! Ted Cruz tells the truth, and now he's got to
walk it back to the lie. Yeah, I walk back to the lie.
But that's the post-truth reality we live in.
I know.
In this world. That's why I can see us getting to a point where I will say this: if Donald Trump doesn't win the 2024 election, I think we will have a civil war in this country. I think there will be people in the streets killing other people.
No. Well, I mean,
I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, but
well, I was just going to say that's, I was thinking we were going to bring the show down, but that's kind of cheerful.
Oh, is it?
No. Well, Donald Trump losing is kind of cheerful.
Oh,
I don't know about the results afterwards.
So there is a documentary on HBO. I believe it's called 3 Hours at the Capitol. And it was this one reporter who I believe is like, at least like during the documentary, it seems like the guy that was like in like recording all this was part of the whole QAnon. It seemed like he was a believer, more of a follower of the people that were busting in the Capitol,
right?
Than more of a like just a standard news person trying to capture the. But he was right there when the lady got shot. It's all in the video and all that stuff. And it's a hard documentary to watch. The party that, or the people that claim to be the pro police side of it, sure had no issues beating the hell out of cops that day.
No, it's just like the people who are like the same people who are destroying the Capitol.
Sorry, pro law and order.
Right. Defecating in the halls of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Going in, breaking into offices and vandalizing them, are the same people who are like a Black Lives Matter march that has one store gets a window smashed, and they're like,
which we don't,
those fucking vandals.
We don't condone that either.
No, but my point is that these people are doing it, in my opinion, something even worse.
Yeah. And there was one kind of funny part during the whole documentary. It's this QAnon guy, whatever he is, he like gets into the Capitol and he's like, fuck it, man, let's smoke some pot. So he's like passing out joints to people, and he was like, I helped stop the violence because everyone just got stoned. Which I don't really believe, but
but I mean, maybe you stopped the violence for those people who smoked some weed. But all the thousands of them did not stop.
No, and it was like there's one point in the video where there's like this tunnel because they had everything set up for the inauguration,
right?
So this like big tunnel set up, and the police were like literally holding back thousands of people that were just continuously fighting for 2+ hours. They were taking they had to rotate cops through there just because they're just getting the hell beat out of them by all these protesters. I shouldn't call them protesters. Riot. No. It was a riot.
Right, traitors.
Yeah, there was nothing patriotic going on that day. And the funny thing is, and I've seen people on social media talk about, that was Antifa, or those weren't Trump supporters. Bullshit. Go back and watch that fucking documentary.
Yeah. It's, Laura Ingraham started that. She started that on the day.
Yeah.
And it just came out that one of Trump's press people or whatever released to the commission that's investigating all of the text messages.
Yeah.
And Laura Ingraham was one of the people texting the president to get them to get him to say something to stop them.
Yeah.
And then at the exact same time on the news, she's talking about, this is probably Antifa. And, and it's not, they're making it look worse than it is. But at the same time, she's sending text messages to the president to get him to stop the violence.
Then you had Hannity. I think it was Hannity that was messaging. Was it Mark Meadows saying that talking about, well, Trump is destroying his legacy and all this other stuff. Right. The funny thing was, it wasn't all the text messages to Mark Meadows and in the White House about that day. It was this. The crazy thing was how many Fox News contributors and Fox News hosts were in the pocket of the White House.
Right.
And
how many of them had a direct line to the president?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty telling. I think the other thing that's really telling was Donald Trump Jr. had to message Mark Meadows to get to and ask for his dad to go out there and say something. Like you
couldn't just talk to your dad.
Just talk to your dad.
I thought he was. Wasn't he in the room?
I don't know.
I thought he was. I don't think Eric was there, but I know Junior was. I thought Junior was.
I don't know.
Ivanka was there
because the text messages that were released were from Junior to Mark Meadows. Asking for him to have his dad come out and say something.
And when he did finally come out and say something, he didn't say anything.
No, he didn't say anything. He thanked his supporters.
Yeah. We love you. Go home. It's fine. Just go home. We love you.
But I will say during that documentary, when that happened, like everyone just like stopped. And we're like, okay, it's time to go home, and left.
What kind of a... I'm sorry. So... think about this. So you've got the revolutionaries of the United States, the against the British. Say Thomas Jefferson or George Washington says, "All right, everybody, that's it." Okay. It really says a lot about their principles and their if they're their convictions are so strong for this. But just, okay, we're going to go home.
Yeah. I found it really interesting that there were some in the White House, not really in the White House, but in the political right and on conservative talk TV and all the other stuff, calling it their 1776 moment. And I'm like...
1776 was a declaration, and it was done in writing.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was, no shots were fired on in 1770. What they're implying is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get our independence until 1783. They
I know that.
They really need to read their fucking history books.
I know that, but it's funny to see that, and you see like the people rallying around it, and it's like you said, people, do you not know anything about American history? No, because they think that if you wave a flag, you're a patriot.
Right.
Which I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen people, very patriotic people that probably don't even own a fucking American flag.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people that are very unpatriotic
who have 10.
That have 10. Right. They're all over the place. They're on their fucking truck and on their damn clothes and on their hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it's frowned upon to do that, to turn the flag into clothing and stuff like that. It's actually technically unpatriotic to do that.
Yeah.
But don't tell them that.
Yeah, I know. It's just, but I will say I wanted to kind of move over to talking about the 6th, because there was some, and this kind of goes back to reality redefined kind of stuff that we talked about, and QAnon, because yesterday was a big QAnon day.
It's kind of their Christmas, isn't it, now?
Kind of. So the QAnon shaman, you remember that guy, right?
Oh, yeah. The guy who was so, like, manly and, like, with his horns and his bare chest, but he couldn't sit in the prison cell that didn't give him a vegan option.
Yeah, they had moved him.
I need a vegan option to eat.
Yeah, they had moved him to a different...
Surprised he had enough strength to even get into the fucking Capitol.
So apparently, he's in prison. He got a pretty decent, pretty lengthy prison sentence.
Well, I don't think it was enough, but yeah.
No, I will say that I did think it's kind of interesting, and I've seen some people post about it. People on the right in Facebook land commenting, well, if it was so serious, why wasn't anyone charged with insurrection? Because no one wasn't. No one was charged with insurrection.
Right. Well, it's something you actually have to prove.
Yes, and that's kind of what I was going to go to. There's only an insurrection charge has been used very infrequently in this country, and is something that is very, very hard to prove.
Right. I would say if it had gotten worse and actually had spilled out into the streets, and it became a hot weapon situation.
Yeah,
it would have been a lot easier.
Had they have actually gotten a hold of people, members of Congress.
Right. Oh yeah. If anyone had actually,
I'm going to tell you right now, like. The cops showed a lot of restraint.
Some of them too much, because I know some of them were on the side of it. And you can tell in some of the videos, the ones who were like, yeah, whatever, go ahead.
Yeah,
and then the other ones who were like, fighting for their lives and their
because
they're what they're doing,
There should have been more people killed that day. And they even they even talked about that a little bit in the documentary. And their fear was the DC police, because the DC police were the ones that finally got there and got the whole situation kind of under control. The DC police, the way they looked at it was they knew there was lots of people in the crowd that had guns because they'd seen them. Mm-hmm. There was one cop was talking about how this guy was running by him and dropped his gun. The cop picked it up and had the guy's gun on it,
right,
the whole rest of the day. But so they knew there were weapons in the crowd. So their fear was if they actually started shooting the people as they were breaking through, that there would be return fire.
Yeah, but let me put my little conspiracy hat on for a second. If that had been an Antifa / Black Lives Matter group doing the exact same thing, do you think their restraint would have been the same? I do not think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I just don't. I think, and there's no reason to think that a Black Lives Matter or an Antifa crowd wouldn't have the potential to be just as armed.
Yeah.
And I personally believe this. Like I said, my conspiracy theory hat. It's very small, but I think if that had been a crowd with a vast majority of black men in it, I think we would have seen a lot more of those protesters.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Just because
at least beaten a lot more. There have been beatings.
Oh, the cops were trying to beat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
So
I just think that it would have been a lot more bloody, and
maybe.
It would have been a lot more bloody on the side of the attacking force rather.
Yeah,
than
I will say
the
definitely go and watch that documentary, because like I said, there was multiple times I just want to punch my TV.
Well, I watched it live. I was home. I didn't work that day.
Yeah, I was at work when it was going on.
And I had literally just woken up when it was just starting. I mean, it was just flaring up right when I woke up, because I work midnight, so waking up that late in the afternoon isn't that odd for me. But that was actually early for me. So I'd gotten up, turned the TV on, and it was just starting. Like, something's going on at the Capitol. And and I watched the whole thing live.
And really, at least according to the documentary, the Proud Boys were actually the ones that started all of it.
Oh, no shit.
And they actually started breaking in and started the aggression before Trump was even done talking.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that doesn't surprise me.
It seemed to be, there definitely seemed to be a planned effort.
Well, and honestly, just a little aside, there was a story, I don't know if it was, because I heard it on two places. I think I first heard about it on MSNBC, and then I heard someone talking about it on a podcast I listened to. The Proud Boys, they're not a stupid organization.
No.
Because, like you said, they were the first ones in. That doesn't surprise me. They were probably some of the primary planners of a lot of that stuff. But they're also starting to weed themselves into local governments all across the country.
Absolutely.
Going to meetings with masks on, sitting in the back, not saying anything, but supporting the people who are pushing the anti-vaxxing.
Because they're taking the playbook of what the Klan did.
Right.
The Klan from the 1960s on, there was a concerted effort to take off the hoods, to infiltrate, local and state governments.
Well, I would even say like early 1900s, because Woodrow Wilson was a
but there was a
transition.
There was a transition from like the 60s and 70s where Klan membership was dwindling, where they weren't able to just burn crosses on front yards and stuff like that anymore. They had to attack Black Americans in a new way.
Right.
So that's when they, really started pushing into governments and taking over, your local police departments and things like that. That, going back and look, I mean, this is stuff that's all easily found in reliable sources online.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, just the Klan was something that did it. Skinheads did the same thing in the 80s and 90s. And
they started growing their hair. I remember there was a big, I think Geraldo did a big story on that.
Yeah,
about the skinheads, growing their hair back. It was kind of like the catchphrase for the story, and putting on suits, covering up their tattoos, and getting, jobs and getting into politics and to push their agenda. So I remember that. That was in the late 90s, I think. Mid to late 90s.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see Proud Boys doing the same thing. Right. Which I'm going to tell you right now, for like a hard, ultra conservative group, Proud Boys is a terrible fucking name.
Yeah, it is. But I think what the intention is to elicit that good old boy. Yeah. But that they're proud of that heritage.
We're proud Americans, that kind of stuff.
Well, they're proud white.
Proud of our heritage.
White isn't a heritage.
I know that.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
We've had that discussion before.
I know. I'm just saying that these fucking people are idiots.
Yes. So anyway,
the gene pool is too thin. I'm just telling you right now.
That's why I was trying to have more kids. I'm trying to prop up the gene pool.
Your kids are great, but you don't need to have any more kids.
I'm done having kids. Yeah. So the QAnon shaman, back to this guy.
Yes, okay.
So he went on this QAnon conspiracy theorists talk show. Her name is Ann Vandersteel.
Okay.
Which I think I've heard her, just
for some reason the name sounds familiar.
The name sounds familiar, but I've never actually listened to her stuff. But anyway, he goes on her show with this wild claim. Of course, he has no evidence for any of this stuff. That there is a, quote, a breakaway civilization that is living deep underground where military bases are developing technology several hundred years more advanced than any technology available on the surface. We're going to see a whole new world far beyond most people's imagining, is what he said.
To what end?
So there's this so is he talking? So is this
I know, but
is this Hollow Earth shit?
Yeah, or it kind of is. But what are they, the good guys or the bad guys?
Yeah.
Is he implying that they're the bad guys? I don't know.
Probably.
Because if they got shit that's 100 years more advanced, let me see it. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. So I just thought it was kind of interesting, the whole what do you say, a breakaway civilization. So
I just don't know.
Living deep. So it's to me, I think that's Hollow Earth.
Well, I mean, we can build. I mean, they have underground. I wouldn't call them cities, but they're designed to be livable in case of an asteroid. Or something. Mainly for rich people and politicians. Yeah. I mean, the president, the government, the sitting government has
the New World Order.
Well, I mean, they all have. There's bunkers. Yeah. Underground
that they would be able to survive in.
And stuff that they'd be able to survive in comfortably, of course. So, I mean, I think that's probably more what he's talking about. There's these underground bunkers. I'm trying to rationalize an irrational statement.
Yeah, you really can't. Because it's just when people start spouting off stuff like that, it's okay, come on. Right. So, Michael Flynn is the head of the QAnon movement, right? Okay. Or a big member.
He's a well-known member, yeah.
Yes. So he said that there's no reason why a Myanmar-style military coup could not happen in the United States, which I can kind of see that. I mean,
it wouldn't be hard. I mean, it did technically almost happen.
Yeah.
And this isn't the first time it's almost happened.
But I don't see a military coup happening, though.
Not a military, but
I know that there was this big article that came out within the last couple of days that there are, I believe it was 30,000 U.S. active troops that are facing discipline for refusing to be vaccinated.
Right. Okay.
So people, of course, were taking that. Because when I see those articles, man, I just start reading comments. Because some of them are kind of comical, but a lot of them were what the fuck? But there was a lot of comments who were well, see, this just shows how deeply divided the United States military really is. I'm
30,000.
30,000 is
like 2%. That's 2 battalions, barely.
I want to say it's 2 or 3% of the United States military.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, and I've seen people talking about them and how they're the real Americans. They're fighting. They are political pawns. They're acting on political ideals because when they join the military, the first thing that the government does is inject them with 30 fucking vaccinations, and they don't ask any goddamn questions. This one, I'm sorry, I need to know what's in it. Come on, it's all fucking politics. The 30,000, are completely entitled to their opinions, but they're in the fucking army.
Yeah.
It's the fucking army.
They should all be discharged.
Oh, absolutely, dishonorably.
I don't think. Well, as much as I would like to see that happen, it won't happen because
they'll be discharged. They should be discharged without prejudice, but I don't think they shouldn't get anything honorable.
Well, they would lose all benefits and things like that. But so anyway, Michael Flynn kind of went on. Mm-hmm. He said that we need warriors right now. We need champions. We need generals. We need soldiers. That's what we need running our country. Our country doesn't need weak politicians anymore.
So he wants a military dictatorship.
So he is calling for a North Korean style government.
Yeah. With Trump as the supreme leader.
Which is fucking insane. But you know what? There was also what was that? I don't remember who the guy was in Canada. But he was some like big figure. I don't remember if it was like some in academia or politics or whatever it was in Canada. But he like wrote this. I don't know if it was a letter or whatever it was, but he wrote recently about how Canada needs to start preparing for a ultra right wing
U.S.
MSNBC
actually did
in the next 10 years.
Yeah, I think
I'm sorry. He said an ultra right wing dictatorship in the next 10 years.
I think Rachel Maddow did a story on that.
Okay.
The middle of the week.
I don't really watch MSNBC, but
it's always on in the background. If it's not MSNBC, it's CNN or sometimes Fox News. If I'm feeling frisky,
don't feel frisky.
Well, like if I feel like I want to yell at my TV, the way I yell at clouds, shake my fist at them, I'll put on Fox News. But it's usually, like I said, CNN, because there's nothing else on TV for me. I don't watch sports, so I'm not going to sit and watch ESPN. So when I have background noise, I'm not listening to records. It's MSNBC or CNN or World News, ABC.
But I 5 years ago when we started this podcast, I would have said you're fucking crazy.
I know.
But sitting right
because
here,
I've said this to you
in January 2022, I think it's possible.
Nick, I actually warned you about this under the Bush administration. I told you how simple it was. I didn't say I didn't actually believe it was going to happen because of him.
I don't think I don't think it will actually happen.
I just told you how easy it would be for us to descend into that level of political discourse to the point where things would fall apart, where a military dictatorship would have to take over.
I don't see anything like that happening in the next 10 years, though.
No, but
I think it will take a lot longer than that.
I don't think so either. But I was warning you, and you told me I was being fucking insane because you was like, "It could never happen." Those were your words. It could never happen. And now we're like, it could happen.
I would say it's. Is it possible? Yes. Yeah. Is it likely? No. Yeah.
But that's a huge change from what you said. It could never happen.
Well, things change a lot in the course of 20 years. You know.
Yeah, I know, but still.
If you would have told me when George Bush was president that Donald Trump would be president, I would have told you you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, I probably would have said the same thing because there's just no way I could have suspected that.
But that was kind of his election was kind of a perfect storm kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, but
it's still going on. All the shit that came with him being president is still going on.
Well, I would say that like Scalia dying was a big factor because it kind of pushed Donald Trump in directions maybe he wouldn't have gone had Scalia lived. And I think evangelicals who were more concerned with the Supreme Court than anything else might not have been as quick to jump on board with Donald Trump. And Hillary Clinton being the boogeyman of the Republican Party, even more so than her husband for the last 30 years. Right. It was like a perfect storm.
And the fact that she was a weak candidate for us.
I don't think she really was.
I think she was.
I think
she was a weak candidate. She was. I think she was weak in the sense that she overestimated her abilities to win that election against Donald Trump.
I think she was okay. Yes. She went into that election thinking she had it in the bag.
Yeah, and she acted like it throughout the campaign.
But Hillary Clinton's mistake was not running for president in 2004.
Yeah, you think
she would have fit perfectly in that political climate that year.
And
more so than Kerry would have, than Kerry did.
And I think that, I mean, obviously the other
She
side
probably
hated her,
she might not have won, but she would have had George Bush would have had a very, very difficult time beating her.
Yeah, I can see that.
So she just waited too long. 2000. She waited till she didn't want to run against a sitting president, and then so she waited until 2008, and lo and behold, there was a better candidate,
much better candidate
in 2008 that she didn't see coming.
Yep.
So I don't know. And that's we're gonna get into that in
next week.
In future episodes, because I've been a big fan of alternate histories for a long time, and we're gonna kind of get into some of that. But anyway, we'll talk about that at a later date. But yeah, I think the Donald Trump being president, I don't think, even if so, we were talking before we started recording that I fully believe that Donald Trump is going to win in 2024. Him winning a second term, I don't see that necessarily causing us to crumble into a dictatorship.
No, but see, here's the problem, because what Democrats don't understand, or they do understand, they're just not doing anything to change it, is that Republicans on every level of government right now are working to destabilize the entire system.
Of course, because that's how they win.
That's how they win. So now, and we've already seen the things and levels that Donald Trump went to as president to say that these certain rules, not necessarily laws, but rules, do not apply to me because I'm the president. So because of all of that, and because they've amped up that grassroots destabilization of our system, if Donald Trump wins in 2024, I can see them changing the rules to keep him in office as long as possible.
I think that's why it's important for the filibuster to remain in the Senate. As much as liberals don't want it.
I know, but that's a double-edged sword, because with the filibuster, the sitting Democratic president is not going to get anything fucking done.
But I'm going to tell you right now.
He's going to lose based on the fact that he didn't get any of his promises done.
Even if they got rid of the filibuster, Republicans are taking over the House and the Senate next year.
I know. Well, and to be honest with you,
this year.
We don't even need Trump to win in 2024. When that happens this year, they're going to do all that anyway.
There's no way in hell that Democrats keep the Senate or the House this year. Right. It's not going to happen. Right. So, if it was a different story, then I would feel differently. Mm-hmm. But I think that is why I think it's important that
So what happens if the Republicans get rid of the filibuster? Because you also have to understand that the group of Republicans that we're talking about taking over this year are not your traditional Republicans.
But it's the same reason why they didn't do it before.
No, but see, they have those grassroots things happening, all that shit that's happening, to come to a point where they won't need the filibuster anymore. Yeah. They get rid of it themselves, and they're already setting everything up to completely disregard the vote, the rules, all of it. And I could see this becoming literally a straight across the board Republican country, a right-wing country, just in the next couple of years based on that.
No, because I don't see the Republicans getting rid of the filibuster.
I'm just telling you, you're talking about, I'm not talking about traditional, I'm not talking the Mitch McConnells and even the Ted Cruzes. I'm talking about the Marjorie Taylor Greens. Yeah.
Well,
they're the
she's
ones.
The House,
but you see my point.
You don't generally see that level of like craziness in the Senate.
But you will. We've got Boebert in the fucking Senate.
Yeah. So I think you're wrong though. I don't think
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I think the pieces are in place. They're being put into place right now. So
the
that
pieces
they don't even,
have been putting into place for the last 40 years.
They're lining them up right now so that it doesn't even fucking matter if Trump runs in 2024.
No, I don't know.
I really don't think it's going to matter. I'm going to be far more pessimistic on this because I typically am. But I think you might be underestimating the Republican Party. Not the Republican Party of yesteryear. I'm talking about the current,
the new Republican Party.
The new Republican Party. I think you're underestimating them. I think they're already putting themselves in place. They're complete fucking idiots on most things, but they know how to hold on to power and they know how to gain it.
And here's the thing, and this is why I think over the next 12 years or so, next 10 to 12 years, we're going to see this pendulum where power is going to shift from Republicans to Democrats and back to Republicans and back to Democrats.
Democrats don't know what to do with the fucking power.
Because here's the thing. This is why I think this is going to happen. Is who's the power structure in the House?
Right now?
Yes. In the Democrats.
It's a
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
She's no longer going to be in Congress at the end of the year.
She needs to go. I know. But she needs to go.
She is. It's already done. Yeah. This is going to be her last term.
Well,
because she's already on record as saying she does not want to be the one that has to hand the gavel to the Republicans in the House. Right. So she is done. She's retiring from Congress.
Good.
This is over. So you're going to see a new power structure in the Democratic Party, which should have happened
20 years ago.
I wouldn't say 20 years ago. I would say 10 years ago.
Definitely 10, but I'd go as far to say they probably should have started thinking about this shit 20 years ago.
Well, they were. It just we didn't have anyone in place. Right. 10 years ago, the old guard wasn't so old in the Democratic Party in the House. So I think we're going to see new life brought into the Democratic Party, new ideas being brought into the party that I think will cause, like I said, every 2 or 4 years for the balance of power to switch back and forth. And I think that is why Republicans will not get rid of the filibuster. The fear of the same thing. Democrats getting in power without a filibuster. We're going to have, all these programs put in place.
Like I said, I hope you're right.
And Republicans also know policies that are put in place that help the overall well-being of poor people are bad for Republican politics.
Right. Well, but see, they don't have they don't have policies. They win.
They're just obstructionists.
They are obstructionists, and they
have been since President Blackenstein was office.
Even before that, but
they weren't before that.
Yeah,
because they had George Bush. Prior to that, they at least would somewhat work with Democrats in the 90s.
Yeah, I guess. But you're right, and I just my biggest fear is that they're working at making it so that they can legally cheat their way through and not have to ever have policy.
Well,
and nothing will ever get done. And because of that, because they're obstructionists, when the pendulum does swing to the Democrats, because Democrats, at least right now, don't know what to fucking do. They know what to do, but they have to. They pander. They pander to themselves. They pander to each other.
Because here's the problem.
The fucking Republicans.
Here's the problem. The Republican base in Congress is a very narrow umbrella, right? Mm-hmm. As far as like ideas go, that's not the case on the Democratic side. I think there's you take any number of policies, and there's far different opinions inside the Democratic Party than there aren't in the Republicans.
And that's generally, I would say, is a good thing. But I think they need to narrow it down a bit so that there's a common message, so we don't get the fucking mansions and cinemas.
Well, you're not going to get those moving forward. Those are just going to be Republicans,
right?
And that's as much as I think, to a certain extent, Joe Manchin is doing the Democrats a favor.
How so?
By blocking the Build Back Better bill.
All the stuff that would help people.
Hold on. Because what that's going to do is galvanize the right as far as voting-wise. But this is what I'm saying, though, is a lot of the stuff that's in that bill I think is good, right?
Vast majority of it.
A vast majority of it. But putting it all together in this one big bill,
but it's not anymore. It's not that. It's not. It's
well,
not
it is. It still is because
the infrastructure bill's done. That's already done.
Yes, they took that one piece off of it. Right. They split the one bill up into two bills. Right. But they're still pushing this Build Back Better thing. I was just reading an article earlier today that The Clintons have been pressuring Joe Manchin about it now. And it's like, instead, just move the fuck on. Take the stuff that you know you can pass that's in that and try to work on something. Because that's where the Democrats are going to kill themselves, is over the next 6 or 8 months, they're going to keep hammering on this one bill instead of trying to take what they can from that bill and passing the things they can pass to make something that they can all run on later this year.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Because if they were to pass that Build Back Better bill, it will be Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act 2.0. It'll do the exact same thing. You're passing a gigantic bill that, yes, is going to help people, but what it does is it gives the Republicans a fucking boogeyman to run against, which is exactly what.
But if it doesn't get passed this year, it won't get passed ever.
It won't. But that's why I'm saying they need to break off and do the things that they can actually work on and actually pass now. Because you're right, there is a lot of stuff in that bill that is going to help a vast majority of the country.
Even the stuff that wants to that Manchin wants taken out is good stuff.
I know that.
There's nothing wrong with anything that he.
But don't let perfect be the enemy of the good.
No, I agree with you there, and I definitely see your point.
Don't let good be the. No, that's right.
No, you had it right the first time.
Right.
And I totally agree with you.
Because no senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin or whoever the fuck it is going to be on board with it.
Right. Even though it helps people specifically in fucking West Virginia.
He's a fucking coal baron.
But it helps the fucking coal miners.
That, but it doesn't matter to it. That kind of stuff.
Those are the people who should be voting for him, right?
Yeah.
Who are voting for him. And it's going to help them.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is he is. But that's what I'm saying. Take what you can from that bill and work on the things that you can actually pass to do something.
But then it's like, build back, okay. Not better. Oh, just, okay. I mean, and then Biden loses just because he didn't fulfill his promises.
Biden's going to lose. I'm going to tell you right now, Biden goes as COVID goes. That's what's going to sink his presidency is COVID-19, not the Build Back Better bill.
I don't see him running anyway.
I think he will. I think he will run. I think he will. At least
I think he'd be foolish. I think he'd be smart to just
I think
not.
If Trump runs, he will run. I think. Because I think he thinks he's the only one that will be able to beat Donald Trump.
But he's not.
95-year-old Joe Biden is not going to be the one to beat him.
No. But I think there's other people in the party who could probably stand up to him.
We'll see.
There's not many, but there's
see.
some.
We'll see. But
it's not Harris either.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to say. She's been very quiet.
She has been
for almost the entirety of the administration.
I think it's done for
it's intentional.
planned,
yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. But I think she needs to be a little bit more active in some areas. Maybe even find some safe areas to be active. But she hasn't done anything. Biden was a much more active and hands-on vice president. And we know Dick Cheney was because he was basically president. Well,
Dick Cheney was Satan, but
did you hear he came out against? He did a thing. He said he's embarrassed by Republicans today.
Satan did?
Yeah, yesterday he did a.
Or I was being funny, but Dick Cheney. But
same difference.
I was thinking like the actual real Satan was like, I'm embarrassed. Yeah, I'm embarrassed to be a Republican.
That's what I said, Dick Cheney. He came out and said he was embarrassed to be a Republican, or embarrassed by modern Republicans, something like that effect.
He kind of should be.
Well, of course he should be. But he should be a human being, and there's still a question about that.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Dave Hayes?
I do not think so.
He's known as the praying medic. He was also like a big QAnon guy.
Well,
so
I was going to say if he's praying, I probably don't know about him, and I definitely probably don't know about him if he's.
He marked Thursday, the anniversary of the insurrection, claiming that God has already shown me the end of this, and I have zero doubt that these people are going to be held accountable.
Which ones?
The people that are running the government right now.
Oh, okay. So the legally elected, democratically elected, properly placed
yes,
government officials are going to be held accountable for Not cheating.
Yeah,
Okay.
DHS released a memo on Thursday also that there was a big, I guess, I don't know, it doesn't say what forum it was, but there's some big QAnon forum that there's a video that was circulating on there. I guess they had over 60,000 views at the time in the first 48 hours that it was up, that was calling for Congress people to be hung out in front of the White House.
Well, the left side. The Democrats.
Well, all of them, because, they're going after Pence. And that was the whole thing, is where the fuck has Pence been on all this?
Well, everywhere. He's been exactly where he's always been. He's been just quietly sitting by and watching.
Oh, I thought you meant like doing gay conversion therapy.
Well, that's a side hustle.
Oh, that's a side hustle.
Yeah,
well, everyone's got to have a side hustle,
Of course. I mean, really, it should be his full-time job because he loves it so much. But
loves the gay people.
He loves destroying the gay people.
I bet he does.
We're either going to turn you straight or we're going to ruin your mind and make you kill yourself. But I don't even know where he's going with that. Mike Pence. Yeah, he doesn't care.
No,
he's gotten everything out of it that he wanted, at least to the extent of, any opportunity, financial opportunity he wants is available to him. He can go on any talk radio, go to any network, and have a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
He can write any book and it'll be a bestseller. He's fine. He doesn't care.
There's a QAnon author. Well, I guess she's written QAnon books. Kirsten Weldon. That's her name.
I think I've heard of her before.
Well, she does like YouTube videos and stuff too, but she's a big anti-vaxxer. I should say she was a big anti-vaxxer. Yeah, she into conspiracy theories. She spread all the false information about COVID-19 and the vaccines and all that stuff. But anyway, she was hospitalized. She went to California, and then on December 30th was hospitalized, tested positive for COVID, and then she told her followers that she had refused treatment by the hospital and had questioned why she needed oxygen. Yeah, she ended up dying.
Yeah. Well, I can answer the question about the oxygen.
Well, yeah. And I the reason I bring that up is because I saw that happen just recently in our hospital.
Saw someone refuse oxygen?
They weren't refusing oxygen. They were refusing treatment because they had tested positive for COVID-19, but they said it's not real, that the tests were all fake, and the hospital was just trying to make money off of her.
Right.
So she refused all treatments. And the nurse was like just frustrated.
Right.
And I remember talking to the nurse, and he was like, I don't really care one way or another, but like, how do I tell you that this is what's going on with you, and you saying it's all a lie, and then refuse all the treatment?
Right.
My response was, why don't you just fucking discharge her and send her ass home to die then?
Right. Well, not only that, but she came in for a reason. She's obviously not feeling well, right? She's obviously sick.
Yeah, her daughter was is a physician's assistant somewhere. So her daughter told her to come in. Yeah. I believe it was something with her oxygen level or whatever it was. But yeah, then she's just refusing. I just don't get the idiocy.
Right.
The stupidity of people.
Well, there's that idiom. Is this the hill you want to die on?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be metaphorical.
Yeah.
Not.
But they are
actual dying.
They're dying left and right on that hill.
How many right-wing talk radio people have died?
Quite a few.
I mean, it seemed like for a while there was like 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah.
We're dropping off.
Which, whatever. I don't care.
Right. Well, but there's 10 other people waiting to take their fucking jobs.
No. Let's go Darwin.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is there's too many of them.
Yeah.
You're not going to weed out. You're not going to thicken up the gene pool because there's too many fucking people. There.
Well, it's like Hydra. What was the thing for Hydra? Cut off
one head and 5 others. Yeah. 5 up and 5 more appear.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're like cockroaches.
Well, humans are like cockroaches.
Well, and that's the funny thing is like, I was thinking about this a couple days ago. And COVID-19, and I don't really want to get off a big COVID rant, but COVID is not the disease. We are the disease.
Right.
We're the disease on the planet. COVID is just the planet's way of trying to get rid of us.
Well, it's another life form doing exactly what all life forms do.
Yeah.
It
trying to
propagates
survive.
itself. Yeah, it survives and propagates itself. And it evolves as it goes.
So I don't know how we got from like the 5-year anniversary of our podcast to all of that.
Well, basically, we wanted to kind of sum up the last year in the show, even though we didn't really talk a lot about that in the show. That pretty much sums up the last year of our lives.
Pretty much. But the podcast has been fun. I don't have any plans of stopping it anytime soon. So
no, I enjoy doing it.
Here's to 5 years and 5 more, I guess.
Sure. Well, I mean, I could die in 5 years.
That's true.
I could die tomorrow.
None of us could be here in 5 years. We could be under a dictatorship.
Right. And then the podcast will just be it basically have to be government sanctioned, and
yes.
we have to be like, Donald Trump is our friend. Donald Trump is our friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how to read anymore because I'm a real American.
I love the lizard mole people. Right. The lizard mole people are our friends.
Did you watch the second episode of Boba Fett yet?
No, I have not watched any of it.
There's a part with a lizard, and it really has nothing to do with anything, but when something happens, you'll see it. All I could think of was lizard people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's fucking lizard people in the show.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, it's.
I like it. I like a good lizard people conspiracy.
But there's nothing remotely connected to the conspiracy.
No, it's not. But I just love lizard people
because of the conspiracy that lizard people are taking over.
Yeah. Just
when you see it, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's what he was talking about.
Gotcha.
So.
But I don't know. I mean, you got anything else sad? Other than we're just fucked.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been saying that for 5 years. So, yeah, that sums up the podcast, too. Because I'm the more doom and gloom, for sure. I'll be the first to admit it. I try to be optimistic, and I think...
Ian's not optimistic.
No. I'm optimistic in the long, long, long term. When, after the revolutions and
after we're all gone and the earth can heal itself.
Yeah, when the human race gets down to, like, extinction level numbers... Yeah. And then we can build ourselves back up.
Yeah.
When I say extinction levels, that means we're basically an endangered species.
Less than 10,000 people on the earth.
I was thinking like 50,000.
Okay.
If we can get down to like 50,000 and then grow back up from there, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe the Zeta variant of COVID-19 will take care of most of that.
The sad thing is if the Zeta variant does that, I'm not going to be part of that 50,000.
Yeah, probably neither one of us will.
None of us, yeah. And no one is going to survive that.
Yeah, but, well, I guess we can end on that positive note.
Yay, we'll be dead!
Any questions or comments, you can email us at lifeandjournalpod@gmail.com.
Yepper.
Check us out on Facebook.
Yepper.
That's about it.
Yepper.
Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, the niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon. Oh shit. Watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement to your eye. Niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who showing their bodies. Swear to God, nigga, this Molly got me up and rolling. These bodies of water. Bring that shit in bottles. We mosh at the party. They hate when we style it. Wildin' out of the party. Now they see the